Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sam and I've been an instructional designer working in tech for almost 6 years now. I work with a lot of career transitioners, whether it's like teachers or personal trainers or chefs, and they want to transition into an instructional design role. And while I love helping them with their resumes and making sure that they can actually get the role, I also think it's really important to talk about, once you get the role, how to be successful in your new position. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips that I think are really useful to being successful in the first few weeks on your new job. And these don't just specifically apply to instructional designers, these can apply to any sort of tech role. So if that sounds interesting to you, give this video a thumbs up and let's get into it. So the very first thing that I think is really important, and I learned this one from my partner because I was really not interested in doing this at first, but it is to talk with your manager and learn the names of the people that you are going to be working with, not just on your team, but other people that are kind of adjacent to your team. So say for example, you are an instructional designer for one certain product, then you're also probably going to be working with different product managers and different product marketing people for that product. It is important to get to know their names and kind of get to know them as people before you actually start working with them and need things from each other. Set up 15-minute meet and greet sessions just to say hi, get to know them informally, rather than having your first meeting with them be when it's like a super official, like I need this from you, you need this from me. I usually will send a quick message like, hey name, my name is Sam and I'm new on the instructional design team. My manager mentioned that we will be working together, so is it cool if I put 15 minutes on your calendar just to say hi and meet each other? And that 15 minutes is really great because it's less pressure on both ends. I don't know, maybe that's just a me thing, but if I know that I have to talk to someone for 30 minutes and I've never met them, sometimes that can be stressful. So throwing 15 minutes on your other people's calendars throughout your first few weeks of people that you'll probably be working with is one tip that really has paid dividends going forward for me. The second tip that I find really useful is to take notes while you're onboarding and kind of create your own onboarding plan, because many companies don't really have like a fully baked onboarding plan. And what I mean by onboarding is take notes of all the things that you're learning, whether it's on your own or based on conversations you're having with people or by reading the docs that are available, and kind of create your own onboarding plan so that one, you have documentation of everything you're learning, and two, you can kind of provide feedback on the onboarding that exists already. This kind of gives you something that you're already creating and producing, and you can kind of share it with either your manager or people on your team. And it kind of lets them know that you're really proactive and you are capable of producing things and taking ideas and synthesizing them into like a really concise document. I've done this at many different companies and we've used some of the stuff that I've created in revamping onboarding or creating a non-existent onboarding for people who we hire in the future. So the third tip that I think is really useful is setting your working hours within your Google Calendar. Or if you use like Microsoft Teams, you can set it in Outlook, but just making sure that you're setting your working hours on your calendar. I find this really useful, especially when you're just starting off, because you probably don't have a lot of meetings scheduled on your calendar yet. So you can really get in there, set some boundaries right away from day one so that people are aware of what times they can contact you. So maybe you set your working hours from like 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. And then it kind of makes it harder for people to schedule meetings outside of those hours. So if someone like tries to schedule a meeting with you outside of those working hours, usually if you have your working hours set up, the calendar will notify that person and be like, are you sure you want to set up this meeting outside of their working hours? And sometimes they'll, some people respect it, some people don't, but I think it's good to have, especially at the beginning. Alongside that, not only working hours, but at least a 30-minute lunch block every day, Monday through Friday. I think that's really important to just put in there from day one so no one can schedule around it, or at least they are aware that you already have that calendar block there and they can kind of adjust when they want to schedule a meeting with you if needed. And And the last tip that I have for success in your first few weeks on a new job is to set kind of an expectation with your manager on one-on-ones about how you want them to go. I've worked with a bunch of different managers, and some of them have a set process of how they want a one-on-one to go. And some managers are just kind of having this like casual chat with you. I think it's really important to set those expectations right away to make sure that your one-on-ones with your manager are fruitful and can help support your career growth. So when you start your first one-on-one, if there's not a document already or like a Google Doc or some sort of document where y'all can collaborate and are taking notes, I think it's really important to create one and share it with your manager. And this is where you can track your notes for what you're going to talk about in your one-on-one, as well as what you have accomplished and what you're working on. At the top of the document, I generally like to have like a Q1 accomplishments section, and then the dates of each of our one-on-ones, and list those our talking items and what I'm working on there. This way, my manager has a documented list of everything that I'm working on. I have a place to document what I'm working on and my accomplishments. And we have a collaborative spot where I can include any questions that I might have for my manager, and my managers can always include questions that they have for me. This is super useful, especially when it comes time for promotions or for, bonuses or pay increases. You can kind of have a list already created of all of your accomplishments that you can share with your manager so they can advocate for your raise or your promotion. Alrighty, y'all, so those were 4 tips that I find really helpful to make the first few weeks on your new job super successful. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.